Kenny. They call me Ken Swift, and I represent 7 Grandmaster B-Boys, 7 Gems Rock Dance Division, New York City. There's a lot of differences. And it wasn't a scene. It wasn't a scene back in the days, because when I started, the scene was more like, it wasn't a b-boy scene. It was a scene of parties. So, it's like you go to the party first, and then maybe you're gonna dance. But it wasn't like go to b-boy. It was just parties. You go to meet girls. This is back in 1978. I'm from the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and it was just like, first it was about going to hang out, write graffiti, ride the subway train, act stupid on the subway train, get dressed up fresh, go look for girls. Nice song comes on, oh shit, I'm gonna show off, I'm gonna dance. So maybe the girl sees me dance. It's that simple. When you're 12 years old, it's very basic. So at that time, it was about more like, just hanging out. The next few years, it became more like, okay, if you started saying, I want to be a better b-boy, and you practice, and then you would go to places where people would break. So you would see a place like a roller skating rink, or maybe even a jam in the street, of course. And then that was what we would call the scene. But now it's a different scene. Now everybody knows exactly what's going to happen. We're going to go break. We're going to go, there's going to be a bunch of breakers there, blah, blah, blah. So it's a little bit different, because you're talking 33 years. That's a heavy question. The positive is that this dance is always very important to be exposed as much as it can, so everybody learns about it and knows what it is. That's a positive about big events. It reaches out to a broader audience. I mean, over here, for example, they're reaching the whole city in a specific channel of cable. So it's very important to reach people so they can see it. So maybe it shows more interest. Maybe your little kid sees it, he wants to do it. The negative side is that when corporations become a part of things, they're not really interested in the cultural aspect or the educational aspect of it most of the time. They're interested in their product and the exposure of the product primarily. So the negative side is that there's times where we lose creative control. I don't want to say artists, but as the talent, because we're talent, we make these events. If we don't show up and we don't dance, there's nothing. So they can't do it without us, but sometimes we can't do it without them because they have the finance. So the negative side is losing creative control. If we can maintain creative control to where a corporation doesn't tell us how to dress, doesn't tell us specific things that go against the cultural tradition, if we can maintain integrity with our traditions and do a big event, it's good. But sometimes it's not like that. So I'd say the positive is that it continues to get exposed. It gives dancers opportunities to fly to another part of the world. That's a beautiful thing. I was given the opportunity when I was 16 years old to fly to Europe, and it changed my life. So I think that it's beautiful to give people around the world, crews, opportunities to travel. But we also have to be careful. That's all. Many times I wanted to, give up and say fuck it, for many, many different reasons. Social, life reasons. Anything from, relationships to, anger and hostility with, jams, anything like also, I can't make no money, what I'm saying? I can't keep practicing and being poor because I have children. My family's saying, what's wrong with this guy? He's already so old and he's still spinning on his head. There's a lot of things that made me want to give up. And I was cool. I was like, yeah, I could leave this. And I did, but you can't do it that easy. There's something about this dance that, about b-boying, and that's my life. That's what I started Break Life for, because Break Life represents my life. No matter what happens in my life, relationships, money, you know, business, etc., it's always been my life, and it's always going to be my life. This is my lifestyle. So when I just think I'm retiring and I leave, all I need to hear is Apache, or Give It Up or Turn It Loose, and everything changes, and I'm in the fire, right in the fire every time, for whatever reasons. I'm not a competitive dancer anymore. I don't really have the time to commit to training, because I have bigger responsibilities. I have 3 children. These are my priorities, and I'm not going to put breaking in front of my family. So, but at the same time, because I have a legacy, it's very important for me to stay in, because there's a lot of things that I can share with people around the world, and I have a responsibility as an old school pioneer to do that. So I want to do this, I know that I can't leave, and it's stupid if I left. Right now, I've been dancing 33 years. For me to leave now is so stupid. It's like, this is your life. This is the most, you've been doing this more than anything in your life. So, what I'm doing now is just focusing on education and outreach, and just trying to be a supporter of hip-hop culture. In 1996, we were doing Jam on the Groove. We were doing great things. A bunch of different guys that I was dancing with, pioneers and younger guys, and Rocksteady crew. I was in Rocksteady. I was the vice president. And things were going good, but there was business started happening with Rocksteady crew, and it became a priority in certain areas. So I was into battling. I wanted to battle. Me and Flowmaster, Honey Rockwell, we were all just like, a bunch of us was like, let's, no matter what happens with this business, let's dance. We want to dance. We're not worried too much about that. So I felt like it was getting a little bit shaky, so I started a division. I started a chapter of Rocksteady called the Seven Grandmasters. Seven Grandmasters is inspired by a kung fu movie from the 1970s called The Seven Grandmasters. The movie was based upon guys fighting in different styles in kung fu. So I like the name, and so we set it off. It was me, Honey Rockwell, Mr. Wiggles, Flowmaster, Orko. There was a bunch of people that were coming in, younger dancers that had the mentality we had. We didn't care if we won, we didn't care if we lost, we didn't care if we drew. If it was a time, we just wanted to battle, and we did. And that was the fire. So from that, the name Seven Grandmasters is a long name, so I said, if I did an acronym, I would say 7GMS. But then I said gems. It sounds like gems. That's a good idea. I'm going to call it gems, because gems are precious stones. They're like diamonds. But you got to dig deep in the earth to find these special stones, because the surface is polluted. So when I look at hip-hop culture at the time, there was a lot of garbage on the surface of hip-hop culture and b-boy. The information was fucked up. And we had the gems of knowledge. We had the truth. Me and my friends. We were standing up for the truth. So I said 7 gems is a good way to say it. 7 gems. The 7 is the letter G. So 7G, 7 gems. It makes a lot of sense. And it's a movement. 7 Gems is a movement. We have the 7 Gems Rock Dance Division, 7 Gifted MCs, 7 Graph Masters. We got all elements, but it's very underground. The 7 Grandmaster B-Boys is the smallest component. I don't put people in 7 Grandmaster B-Boys. I don't go around the world and be like, oh, can you be on my crew? Because I'm from the old school, and in the old school, you got one crew. You got one crew. You don't have 10 crews. You know what I'm saying? You got one crew that's sincere to it, where you grew up with your friends. That's your crew. So I wasn't trying to say, yo, be in 7 Gems too, and also you could be in your crew. I was like, man, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? We got our own legacy. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? And you got your own legacy too. Keep your own legacy. So the biggest component is the Rock Dance Division. I'm around guys that are my age, over 40. Everybody in the Rock Dance Division, primarily, 95% is 40s and 50s. Original dancers from the 1970s. These are guys that I may have seen back in the days we would have battled to, in whatever perspective, because they have the same thing as me. They're as good in their art form as me. So I really respect them a lot. They're my friends. and it's all over New York City. It's not one neighborhood. It's all guys that were there in the 1970s, and we have a family, you know, that we just chill, you know. We older men, you know, we're not kids. We have responsibilities. We can't just go to jazz and or break dance, or rock dance and all that shit. But when I have my opportunities, I try to bring them with me because I respect them and I like the rock. I've always liked it since I was a little kid. Well, I want to stay happy and I want to stay healthy, because if I can maintain this balance, this is going to let everything else that I want to do in my life exist. We can have ideas, you know, and dreams, but if we're not content with who we are, we're not happy with our life, and we're not healthy, none of these things are possible. So my main thing is trying to stay healthy, take care of myself. It's also about, you know, taking care of my responsibilities, man. My family, being responsible with my kids makes me happy. It makes me feel good. You know what I'm saying? Spending time with my kids, you know, doing what I have to do as a father. This is the #1 priority for me. So as long as I got that, the b-boy shit is always going to be there for me. I can do whatever I want in b-boy. I can, you know, think about going to a country and, you know, flying myself over there and hanging out for like 3 weeks, you know, or 2 weeks, and teaching and having fun and hanging out. But like I said, if I don't have the balance with my responsibilities and my personal happiness, you know, none of that is possible. I would like to go to South America next year and try to finance myself to go to stay in South America.